The past 4 or 5 days, thine wig has been shifted, thine wig has been snatched. I have even changed accents. This Kendrick Lamar, Drake back and forth that has occurred the last 4 or 5 days has truly done something to me, and it's going to take me a while to get over it, if I do. All right, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. This is Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Thought I was out the woods. But no, I had to come back right after my mini comeback a couple days ago. This Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing, this back and forth, has truly been something really good for the culture. I responded, their reactions to each diss, starting with Euphoria. I laughed. I gagged. Make Pac turn in his grave. I think I even prayed at some point while listening to it. Have you ever? Okay, nigga, let's play. Have you ever watch your enemy down like with poker face? Have you ever? Kendrick is something special and vicious. Apparently, Drake has woke him up with the diss track that had the AI of Tupac and the AI of Snoop. Drake just couldn't leave well enough alone. Decided to throw himself into something that had nothing really to do with him. But a hit dog will holler, right? That's where you first fucked up. You used Tupac. AI of two West Coast rappers, one that's still alive, to talk about Kendrick. Kendrick responds with Euphoria. And even in the cover art for Euphoria says something about a specific date or a specific time frame. Then he drops 6/16 in LA. 6/16 is Father's Day in Canada. It's Tupac's birthday. The date the OJ trial started. There are multiple meanings behind that specific number. So clearly, Kendrick is very subliminal. Listen to Euphoria. First of all, to start off the sample, Teddy Pendergrass sample, I was like, okay, here we go. I was like, okay, you start off soft, like Drake, very cute. Then your voice changes and the beat changes. I was like, okay. K-Dot has entered the room. And I laughed. I cried. I laughed some more. I was shocked. I was stunned. I was speechless. I had to stop the track a couple of times. Because, sir, how dare you? How dare you? How dare you? But do you think Kendrick stopped there? No. Kendrick dropped 616 in LA. Like I said, gutted me. By that point, it started to get real personal. Real personal. Pulling multiple slips of Drake's, seeing through the bullshit, the duplicity, um, even starting to come at the faction behind the curtain. Starting to get real personal. Talking about family. Talking about kids. Then Drake. See, it wasn't back and forth like Kendrick dropped one, Drake responds, Kendrick drops one, Drake responds. Kendrick had dropped two back-to-back disses. And even said in, I believe, Euphoria, I'm going to get back to that record. Back to back for the record. And he did do back to back, literally, with two back to back disses. Then Drake decides to drop Family Matters. I responded to that, reacted to it. I was like, okay, Drake is rapping now. You can kind of tell that when Drake is in, I wouldn't say intimidated, but I guess inspired. It takes the right people to inspire him. Cole did it, and it was clear on, what was it, third person shooter? And maybe 21 Savage does it. You can hear it on Honestly Nevermind. But clearly, Kendrick is Drake's biggest inspiration. Because for 7.5 minutes on Family Matters, Drake has a tight flow. Oh, slightly reminiscent of 2012 Nas. But for a while, Nas was kind of slacking a little bit in the flow department. But it really all it takes is one or a couple of moments where it sounds like rap and not hip hop pop rap for us to be like, okay, Kendrick has awakened the beast in Drake. But in Family Matters, it's the primary target is Kendrick's family. Again, questioning validity of certain aspects of Kendrick's life. Kendrick did open the door by questioning the validity of Drake's career and his home life. So it's only fair, right? But still kind of reeling over the sexy red line that Kendrick made. Still reeling over Drake's affinity for strippers and porn stars. Still reeling over the racial aspect. One's racial preference, which is a form of racism in my mind. Drake decides to turn the crosshairs to Kendrick's fiance, probably long-suffering girlfriend, and one of their two kids. by raising questions that the father of the other kid is not Kendrick, but David Free. Dave Free, his manager, co-producer, and best friend since high school. I think I did a couple of Hail Marys. I prayed. I said, why? 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 And then, the part about being engaged since 2015, what's with the New York residents, you live in that bachelor life. I said, what the network television is going on? At this point, it's clear that both of them have some insight into the other person's lives that we don't. And now keep in mind, Kendrick stated early, this is about the nature of the game. This is about rap. But Drake opened the door to include family. Okay. So here we go. Kendrick releases Meet the Grams and broke that shit down so eloquently. Every important person in Drake's life get to sit down with Kendrick. He opens the track with Dear Adonis. I said, oh shit. Oh, please. He addresses the perceived disappointment that Adonis is possibly experiencing or is going to experience, doesn't know it yet. That he is related to a man that is just not a reflection of such a thing. And that Adonis is essentially the product of an already dysfunctional cycle. He goes on speaking to Adonis, then turns his attention to Drake's mom and addresses her as a woman that should know what it feels like, probably has more in common with this French artist baby mama that Drake has. And how they're two peas in the same pod and the same, going through the same experiences that other women go through, being associated with men that just are not about family, only about themselves, emotionally not supportive, and they find out the hard way. Very cerebral, very intellectual, emotional intelligence. This is another reason why I like Kendrick. But I was like, God damn, there's an art in this Meet the Gram shit. When I tell you, there's probably a long list of reasons why Kendrick's in my top 10 or my top 15. This is where it's clear. Aside from the fact that Kendrick touches on every variable it takes to be looked at as a rapper, to be critically accepted and seen as something for the ages, not something for the charts, or not just something for the charts. That's the difference between the two of them. So when we get to Meet the Grams, I just cannot believe my ears and what I'm hearing. Kendrick is keeping it very poetic, has broken it down to, like I said, the most important members and Drake's cohort over there. And by this time, I am gutted. But Kendrick didn't stop there. Kendrick goes on to drop Not Like Us. And from the moment I pulled up the song to do my reaction and saw the cover art, I said, this man is vicious. The Google Street worldview or whatever image of Drake's Toronto mansion with about over 20 map pins, sexual predator map pins all over the roof of the house. I was like, see, he's tying it all together. You start Not Like Us. It's clear that this man, Kendrick, is reflecting Drake's cosplay. And, you know, this thing of where where Drake adapts vernacular, fake accents, essentially being a cultural appropriator like every 6 months. Every once in a while, every other song on the same album, Views comes to mind. Um, there are some things you just can't escape. And there are some things that are very open for question, credibility, and for unpacking. For Kendrick to then come at this man on a whole song, like he's already done the wordplay, he's already addressed the family, he's already addressed the son a couple of times, already taken shots at your credibility and your impact and your influence. But then to go and do the cosplay thing with the production, the beat, the music, it's very much giving Hotline Bling, 2C Slide, um, honestly inspired from some shit on the More Life playlist album. Kendrick is just having fun at this point. And I was like, this is what we like to see. Because at some point when people aren't listening and people aren't getting it, you have to match the energy to level the playing field, to really get to them. You have to act like an actor to get the actor's attention. And for the most part, the shit will go over their head. Like, what is he doing now? He's acting like you. He is acting like you. So, for a while, I thought, okay, why this past week? Why now? And clearly, it's deeper than this back and forth. Clearly, this didn't just start in the middle of last week or late last week. This goes before, way before, like that. You know, Kendrick's feature on the first of future Metro Boomin's 2 albums. They did 2 collab albums. As soon as they saw that Like That was getting some traction, they decided to drop another collab album. Not even 2 weeks later, from the first album, We Don't Like You, and then the second collab album was We Still Don't Like You. This goes way before that. So apparently, issues between Kendrick and Drake have stretched back as far as 2011. Drake was blowing up in the industry off of Thank Me Later, um, like in a major way. He was just everywhere for about 2 summers and a year and everything. While Kendrick was LA famous, like huge in LA, San Francisco, California, um, but was starting to buzz in the industry. At some point, Drake saw this and was like, let me go take you, let me bring you on tour. Um, as far back as 2009, Kendrick saw or acknowledged that Drake was somebody, was getting real big off of the mixtapes. Did a song or a feature called Determined where you first mentioned Drake. 2011, like I said, Drake blew up. Kendrick had yet to do a debut album or whatever. Um, June 2011, Kendrick performs in Toronto for the first time. Drake hits him up. They meet up. Kendrick hands over Section 80 over to Drake. Drake thinks it's hot. Kendrick raps on Drake's Take Care album, Buried Alive, which is essentially Kendrick saying he's scared of being famous and what it might do to him. Drake takes Kendrick on the Club Paradise Tour, 2012, the year that everything changed. Good Kid, Mad City drops, which is Kendrick's, while it's his major label debut, is not his debut album. Drake is on Poetic Justice. October 2012, Drake tweets support. They do a song with A$AP Rocky together on Fucking Problems. 2013, Kendrick is listed by MTV as the hottest MC in the game. He cleans up at the BET Awards. June 2013, Drake tweets congratulations. 2013, everybody remembers when Kendrick went off on Control, his feature on Big Sean's song, which he lists other rappers: Big Crit, Wale, Drake, Big Sean, Mac Miller, all but one took it well. He just try to guess. Take a stab in the dark as to the one rapper that didn't take it so good. Everybody else was like, it's cool. Individually to myself, I think I'm the hottest, as one should. I didn't take it negatively. I took it as, oh, this is competition. That's good for the game. All but one. One person struggled. One person struggled and went on almost a media tour to express confusion or issue or whatever. Kendrick said it was all love, but he's trying to challenge y'all. Murder, not literally murder you, but challenge you guys. Drake was the one that took the issue. And I'm like, okay, are you slow? So, 2013, Drake drops Nothing Was the Same, starts to take shots at Kendrick on the language. 2013 BET Hip Hop Awards, Kendrick wins 5, freestyles during the cypher, which was so hot, taking shots at Drake's sensitivity, and comments that Control was about attention. Drake takes more shots on Future's song, the remix to Shit. 2013 Grammys, Kendrick loses Best Rap Album to Macklemore. Macklemore sends him "It Should Have Been You" kind of text. Kendrick posted to social media, Drake responds to it in an article, meaning to say he felt some kind of way that he didn't get that text either. Drake tries to squash things while on tour with J. Cole. 2 months later, Kendrick responds to Drake on a J Rock song. 2015, Drake takes more shots at Kendrick on Used To, which is off of, if you're reading this, is probably too late mixtape. After that, Kendrick drops To Pimp a Butterfly. Kendrick takes more shots at Drake takes more shots at Kendrick on 100, which is on one of Game's albums. Drake is exposed as using ghostwriters. Kendrick knew this before we did, which he addresses on King Kunta, which is on To Pimp a Butterfly. Drake releases back to back. Still a hot freestyle. Kendrick responds to that on 2 songs off of Drake's Compton album. Kendrick finally wins Best Rap Album for Pimp a Butterfly. In 2016, Drake dominates the charts, tries to squash the beef. 2017, Kendrick takes more shots on Heart Part 4. After that, Drake drops More Life, 5 days apart. Kendrick drops Damn, which has more shots at Drake, which he continues on Mask Off Remix in 2017. Kendrick sends congratulations for Damn via tweets. He sends all his congratulations via tweets. Damn ends up outselling More Life by 100,000 units. Kendrick takes more shots on All the Stars, saying that he doesn't need his congratulations. Drake responds the same day on Diplomatic Immunity. Drake takes shots from his Scorpion album, then tries to squash the beef again. Things get quiet from Kendrick for a while. Drake continues to dominate the charts. Kendrick wakes up on Family Ties in 2021. Drake responds to that on No Friends in the Industry. Kendrick officially states he and Drake will never be cool on Father Time, which is off of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Drake keeps it up on Honestly Nevermind, which drops on Kendrick's birthday. That is from 2011, 2010, up to at least 2022. And here I was the entire time, just listening to the music, having a good time, thinking, oh shit, this is some good stuff, not even connecting to the two, that this whole time they've been taking shots at each other. But here's the thing. In parallel, while Drake is trying to squash the beef, he is also taking shots. Squash the beef on stage, trying to play the victim in interviews and articles, radio station stops, or media tours or whatever, but still taking shots. Kendrick has kept the same energy as early as 2011. Kendrick thought he was getting a friendship out of having, Drake thought he was getting a friendship out of this by bringing Kendrick on tour. Kendrick saw this as this is my theory. Kendrick saw this as an opportunity to break in, get an audience, and all this other stuff. And the moment the audience goes from like 4,000 people to 10,000, like smaller venues to like stadiums and shit, Kendrick is wrestling with it. Just like he thought he would when he did Buried Alive on Take Care, Drake's album. And he hasn't, although he's continued to make music, he's legally obligated at that point. The fame aspect, the attention, the snakes in sheep's clothing, while it has influenced and impacted his writing and his artistry, personally, it's chipped away to his mental health for the last 10 or 15 years. And while a lot of you have been feeling Drake's music more because he makes music for the vibes, for the drives, for the workouts at the gym, and a lot of y'all find yourselves listening to Drake more. And Kendrick's stuff for the most part is more conscious, and it doesn't necessarily vibe real well with the dance floor and all the other stuff. I'll repeat the same sentiment that I've kept for the longest time. Looking back, people are going to revere the Kendrick more than Drake. Yes, Drake has more chart spots and has landed more entries and charted higher and all this other stuff. Commercially, worlds laps ahead of Kendrick, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Because here's the thing, right? When you start to break down what Kendrick had to say and Drake had to say, what Drake has had to say is small crumbs compared to what Kendrick is alleging. Drake has said along the timeline of this back and forth that Kendrick's daughter is actually Dave Free's daughter, which lends itself to the idea that Kendrick's girlfriend, fiance, has also cheated, that Kendrick does not take pictures with his kids, which is so stupid. And when you think about it, the outcome, let's say in fact Dave Free is indeed the father of Kendrick's daughter. For Kendrick to assume responsibility, the daughter is in the part of the album cover of his last TDE album, which would lead one to believe that Kendrick is not only financially taking responsibility for a child that's not his, but is active still in this child's life and still business partners with Dave Free, could lead one to believe that Kendrick still comes out large in this. That's aside from having a New York City apartment to live a bachelor life, which is so stupid because that's small potatoes compared to the idea that minors are coming in and out of your mansion in Toronto, Drake. Then there is some other stuff that Drake has said, being a fake activist. But it's like, for the majority of his professional career in the industry and such, Kendrick has done more reflecting the idea of an activist, which is amplifying, using one's platform, using one's voice to amplify the issues, the struggles, and highlight the social, economic, racial disparities and our experiences in a country that is founded by colonizers, and history continues to be perpetuated. Kendrick has done that through his music and using his voice and impact to do to be of impact and influence on society, thus changing the trajectory of not only music as an art form by making that the center of his content, but also highlighting media's response to his music, specifically right wing and Republicans. You know, there are other ways to show activism besides going to the hood once in a while to give out turkeys, going to the hood once in a while to do school drives, going to the hood once in a while to drop off presents, going to the hood once in a while to have celebrity basketball games to raise money. But there's nothing that says Kendrick is not doing more outside of music. While Drake has continued to show his versatility, humorously so at this point, Kendrick has also shown versatility in his content. Not only is he talking about these other things that I just mentioned, but also mental illness, struggles with fame, struggles with adjusting, being a man of contradiction, duplicity, being a man that is raised against expectations that you'll be nothing. You'll only end up in one or two places, jail or dead. Like, he touches on a lot of things, and family stuff as well. And reconciling what he was taught, or, you know, by example or by culture as it pertains to transgender people, and how he was forced to face that when his aunt came out as transgender. So for me, it's like, it's clear that Drake continues to prove Kendrick's point that Drake is really all about angles and plotting. What can I get out of this situation? What can I do or say, or how can I move to make sure that I benefit in this situation? Whether it's getting a feature on a song and changing your whole cadence or style or voice to a culture appropriate to that particular artist or sound or genre of music, or how could I reflect the heat and the attention off of my shit and make it appear like the other person is actually the person that personifies all the shit that I'm doing in private. When you actually think about it, Kendrick still comes out large and unscathed in this. And a lot of what Drake has said can be defeated by doing a simple Google search. And that's even if his daughter looks like Dave Free a little bit. Even with that being said, I still walk away from this saying this was really good. When you compare the Kendrick and Drake back and forth with the Drake and Pusha T back and forth, but just by the sheer fact that Kendrick has entered the chat, his appearance alone, his response alone has inspired Drake to remember how to rap, but also way more people are talking about this than they were the Pusha T and Drake back and forth. even though the outcome and the result from the Pusha T situation made us all aware that Drake had a son. Now, it looks like that Drake also has a daughter. And at some point, Drake is going to, whether he is aware or not, or pretends that he's not aware, over time is going to eventually share more about the kids and like eventually publicize. And it's like, it's not like by you doing so, you're trying to make them a celebrity. Because we're not talking like you're the Kardashians. Although that extreme could be looked at as bad parenting, by you trying to hide the kids, only to then be, I guess, forced to show their face on social media because of this current beef. It's like, so what? And then on top of that, speaking of cultural appropriation, you got two non-black dudes whose sole source of their platform and income from that platform is opining on shit like this. Like they know what they're talking about. Neither one are rappers. Swear up and down that Drake is the winner in this. Totally missing the point. Because God forbid that like this was 1995, 1996, and this shit went to the streets. And experiencing that in real time, thinking, oh, they really did just send dudes to wipe out the other person. But lately, referring back to the 1996, 1997 situation between two rappers, it's starting to come to the top that it was a hit on both of them, with one person possibly behind both hits. So, 2024, I get it. Like, if you are a person, this is including these two people that are not black, opining on this rap beef and claiming that Drake won, and Drake is taking the lead. You are a person that swears up and down that commercial success and viability and relevance is the sole qualifiable variables. And you come in and latch onto that and say, oh, well, you know, Drake is clearly winning. Well, okay. One diss record, 7 minutes long, that he probably didn't even write. You're only in it for clout and popularity. Which is cute, but the thing about popularity and commercial success, it changes with the tide. But lyrical content, critical success, what you're saying in your music, looking at music and all that as art has a long-lasting taste. And that's not to say you can't make hits, because both Drake and Kendrick have some shit that knocks. So, in my eyes, Kendrick comes out the clear winner from a public image standpoint, public relations standpoint, a rapper MC standpoint, and really just as a man. Like, there's something to be said about one's character when they shapeshift from opportunity to opportunity to the point that it's obvious that they're this way over here. At least they're consistent on this side, but over here it's different energy. Kendrick has said as far back as 3 or 4 years ago, him and Drake will never be cool. And all of this hopping on the tour and being the opening act and all this other shit is just business. So, in my eyes, here at the I Refuse podcast, Kendrick has won. This is a Kendrick standing count, has been since section 80, and still is definitely during this. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an investigation into some of the things that Kendrick has said against Drake, like an investigation against Drake. Pretty good for hip hop. It'll be interesting to see what comes out the next 7 days or so. And yeah, it's been great. So this is Mr. Fox, the I Refuse podcast. Get into the I Refuse podcast wherever you see us: YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Pod, Overcast, iHeartRadio. Wherever you get your podcasts, we're everywhere, as well as the usual suspects. The I Refuse podcast After Dark. And follow, subscribe, and show love wherever you see us. We would truly appreciate it. Till then, keep it locked, keep it love, and don't take everything to heart. Drake. I love it here. Hope you do too. Peace. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse